Welcome back, Home Wizards here. It's Cindy Dole.
And Eric Stromer.
And we love to help improve your home, improve your life. And I know it might feel, as you're out in this 85-degree heat, a little weird to be listening to Christmas carols, but...
It feels almost invasive. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
we're trying to pick the...
I don't know if I'm ready for the Christmas
We're not
music.
playing the snowflakes ones. We're trying
True.
to play... In fact, if you listen a little bit longer, you'll be hearing California Christmas by the Cheetah Girls.
Which I love those cheetahs.
We're putting it out there. Yeah. But, you know, it's time because it is Thanksgiving weekend. And, gosh, we had Black Friday, and we're going to have Christmas shopping blitz now for the next several months, for several weeks. And so it's time to think about preparing for the decorations. So what about a wreath for your front door?
If you don't tell me about this, I'm going to die. I have to know, because you know what I've done in the past? I've bought them from the Christmas tree lot, and they're okay. Mm-hmm. But they don't have high style to them. They're just very simple and basic.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about not only wreaths that you can create from scratch, but also wreaths that you can buy from, your Armstrong Garden Center,
sure,
from your tree lot, whatever, and then enhance it. Or make something completely artificial.
Okay.
But let me just tell you, if you ever are really in that mood of having an old-fashioned Christmas, last year I did this, and I hope that you guys would do this as well. If you go to the LA County Arboretum's website, they have this tradition. I want to say it's like 20 years plus tradition, where you go into the woods at the Arboretum and you gather all your materials, and then you make a wreath right there.
Really?
Really fun.
That's a great idea.
Really fun.
So you're not just necessarily using pine products.
You are using a little bit of everything. There's,
okay.
Podocarpus.
What? I'm sorry, what?
It's a California native plant that has these blueberries on it. I mean, but there's a lot of...
How long have you been waiting to stump me with that term?
It just came to me. But I think that I think that we should do this together. Maybe bring your whole family. We should go to this Arboretum thing.
I would love to do that.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Check out the Arboretum website and you can sign up for the class.
Seems like a great family activity to just have the raw ingredients and then make it there at the home.
It's a good cause.
Yeah.
Well, so first let's talk about if you really are going to go natural. It's depressing, just like we experienced with our pumpkins over Halloween, and the list goes on and on. You get all, revved up, you hear about the ideas on the show, you try it, and then the thing dies on you before the season has even ended.
Right.
So first let's talk about how you can, if you do have high hopes of a natural, fresh wreath, to have it last through Christmas, for goodness sakes.
Right. Well, so when would you suggest we buy the material?
You can buy it now, but you got to first know what you're going to do before you put it together, because you're going to kill it. So step number one, if you do go with a fresh wreath, chances are that the wreath that you bought, depending where let's say that you're buying, just some of the materials right there at the nursery or at the tree lot, right? It's either assembled or there's strands.
Right, strands.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how long it's been sitting out there or how it's been cared for. But chances are it's probably been sitting in either a really hot place or a really cold place. So you kind of want to observe, is it in full sun or is it in the shade right now? And then you want to, before you even make your wreath or put it on the front door, you want to kind of give it a little R&R in a cool spot to let it kind of get that zest of life again. Because a lot of times if it's been sitting in the sun or dried out and now you put it on your door and it's in the sun, it's going to dry out even more and you're doomed.
Yeah, so a lot of times some of those Christmas tree lots are just sitting out in the middle of a parking lot, and they're going to be dying as you're looking at the trees, right?
So you want to first, get it used to your climate. Okay. And it's a good idea to even soak the branches or soak the strands, to kind of give them a good dousing before you're going to start assembling your wreath. Or maybe you already, it's a store-bought wreath, put it like in a bucket of water and then just kind of let it drip dry off to the side in the shade before you start doing anything and putting it on your door.
I might even hose it down outside.
You could hose it down?
Yeah.
It's a good idea to even also have a little mister bottle and then to mist it. Take it off the door, mist it, and then put it back up every few days. But you're going to love this because I know how you feel about hairspray.
Yeah, thank you.
Hairspray.
You see the height I'm achieving today, don't you?
It's very voluminous.
Almost like a beehive.
It's a bouffant.
Thank you.
But yes, the hairspray, believe it or not, if you spray it to cover the entire wreath, it basically seals in. We've heard this before on other things. It seals in the life.
Okay, can we back up
It's
for a minute? Can we back up for a minute? So are you creating a template in terms of like a circle shape with a piece of styrofoam?
Haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, you're going to get to that?
We're going to get to that.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm just talking about the fresh greens. This is all about the fresh greens.
All right.
So So chances are, knowing you might have already bought a wreath in its full shape at either the grocery store or the tree lot or the garden center, right?
And paid full retail. Go ahead.
Yeah, and you came home and you put it on the door. I'm just saying, before you do that, try these other things. The water, put it in a cool spot, let it rest for 24 hours, hairspray it. Now we're getting ready.
Okay.
But I'm also going to talk to you about how to make something from scratch. But
I
was just giving you the idea
all
about,
right.
I don't want you to be depressed about having a fresh wreath.
Well, because you buy the thing, you bring it home, it's dropping the brown needles.
Okay, now I know you're going to think that this is another hocus pocus thing, but here is another thing that supposedly, I know it might be an urban myth, but the word on the street, all among the elves.
Shh, hold on. Shh. Okay, go.
Is that you use some mouthwash.
Get out. Blaspheme.
It's supposedly a little bit of antiseptic to kill the germs, and of course it's going to make that wreath smell like, well,
minty
cinnamon.
Fresh, like Scope. Yeah.
But you put a little bit of that in your bottle of water as you're misting it, and that's supposedly that before you hairspray.
I'm going to propose that we do
we'll do a sample?
Christmas
like
wreath,
we did with the pumpkins?
Wreath. Yes.
Trial and error. We'll see what lasts and what doesn't. Okay, we'll do that.
You stole the words right out of my brain.
What are you going to say?
Exactly that.
Okay. But I mean, let's do it. We'll start
but
on
you
Monday.
actually said it better.
Well, no, say it.
No, I can't do it now. I'm shy.
I think the turkey is still taking over somehow. All right. So anyway, let's do it. Let's do a side by side. The Eric,
Comparison.
Cindy's survival of a wreath. Okay.
That's right.
So those are some things to kind of give you the will to try a fresh wreath, because it's depressing to think that it's going to wither. Now, let's talk about how you make a wreath.
Okay.
Let's say that you really want to do it from scratch. There are so many different ways that you can first come up with the base.
Mm-hmm.
You can use a hanger. You can use wire hangers, 2 of them, and tie them together to make the circle. Usually a wreath is a circle.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can make it a square. I've seen really cute ones as a square or as a star. You can do whatever you like, but let's just be the basic circle, okay? You connect the 2 wire hangers together with floral tape. Boom. That's easy. You can also buy these. They're like $10 or whatever, and there's 2 or 3 layers of wire at Michael's, Stats, fill in the gap.
I get a little nervous about wire hangers from the beatings back for my mother.
But you want this to be your base, okay? And so that you want to either have that, or you can also find a floral wreath that is made out of foam.
That's the one. See, that's what I was thinking. Is it foam or styrofoam?
It's both. You can use florist's foam.
Okay.
And usually the florist foam is a little heavier. It's that spongier, because it can soak up water. Usually that is more for a centerpiece on a table.
And you can literally plug stems
into
it in. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Or you can use, I would recommend for the front door, the light white styrofoam.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So now, again, these are all the different ideas for bases. You can also find some of they have at the arts and crafts places, or even like Pier 1 Imports, they have a pre-made dried wood twigs wreath.
Okay.
You've seen those,
I
right?
have seen them,
a lot of times people just keep those in their house year-round, but you can use that as your fundamental core, and you're going to then add some pine and Christmassy-looking elements to that.
Got it.
So again, you have oodles and oodles of ideas for just your base, for goodness sakes.
Right. And then anything on top of that, you amend it with anything, you're going to get a personal style, aren't
So
you?
basically, there's 7 basic wreath forms. Styrofoam, straw,
okay,
grapevine, the wire clamp, the hangers, the Oasis wet foam, like we talked about.
Uh-huh.
And so after you figure out how you're going to use, where you're going to put your wreath, how much weight support you have, then you're going to go from there, and then you're going to start coming up with the fun, artsy, craftsy part.
Sure.
Okay? So
now if you use the florist foam,
yep,
you can water it, and then it continues to water those little pine branches a bit, doesn't it?
It does, but I think that the wet foam works best as a centerpiece.
Yeah, because it feels like it might disintegrate and fall
off the
door.
Because, you can dip the base in water until the foam is damp but not fully saturated, and then the base will drip when you hang it.
Right.
If you over-soak it, you can let it kind of quasi-drip dry, but I've had more luck using that more as a centerpiece. But, you can try. Trial and error.
Okay.
Anyway, so now that you have your base all figured out, the sky's the limit, really, on terms of what you're going to do to make your wreath.
Yeah, there's nothing but creativity right here.
Lots of fun ideas. I mean, everything from, again, natural materials to artificial materials. So let's talk about some of the different things that you can do in terms of just coming up with your style. All right, so let's say that you want to have a fragrant wreath. You can use bay laurel or rosemary that you can get, again, at the garden center. And it's really great because
By
even
the way,
when it's...
hiking yesterday,
You saw it? You could smell
rosemary everywhere. I could have pulled it off and made a wreath of it.
So you want to get like about 20 of them. And make sure you don't get arrested when you're not in a state protected.
Why didn't you tell me this information yesterday? I could have made a beautiful
and
wreath.
The thing about this is that it smells good and it dries, and you don't feel offended because it doesn't look dead. It's like dried straw flowers.
And I love the smell of rosemary.
My favorite wreath of all time is one that will last for 2 months, and I love neon green, and it's called the cushion moss wreath. And what you do basically is there's all different kinds of moss, but the pin cushion moss, you can just envision it in this almost magical area with little gnomes.
So the kind of moss you'd see like between rocks.
In clumps, but in that bright lime green. And you can buy this, and the way that you adhere it to your base, it basically will live for 2 months. So anyway, we're going to take a break. We'll tell you more about how you can make that. You're going to need a glue gun, and you're going to need some floral tape and more materials. And guys, this is not just for the gals in the audience. Everyone can do this. We're talking about making your own wreath and also some things you can do with completely artificial things to, again, make your front door look Christmassy and in the holiday spirit. Right?
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm
Home
doing
Wizards, Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, KFWB. We're back after this in just a moment.
Please have snow.
See, I told you that even though we're playing Christmas carols, we're making it California style.
Beach Boys, baby.
Yeah.
Bring it.
I know. I mean, here we are in the 85-degree weather, which we love. But
kind of seems fitting that the Beach Boys are singing.
It does.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Home Wizards, Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, where we are helping to improve those spaces you call home. And a big part of it is whether you live in an apartment or a nice big house or something in between, no matter what time of year, I think it's great to welcome you and those who come by with something that just looks homey.
You know, especially in an apartment, there's nothing like a wreath because people come in that front corridor, they go up to your apartment, and it's individualized. All of a sudden, you got your own style.
It shows pride,
exactly,
and it kind of it's uplifting and all those good things.
Smells good,
and it can smell good. So let's talk about some different kinds of wreaths. Speaking of fragrant wreaths, there's so many different things that you can do once you have determined what your wreath base is, and it's styrofoam or hangers, wire, store-bought. You know, the list goes on and on. But how about what you should put on the wreath, because it's so easy to make something that's either going to last for either a month or two, or maybe even for several years, depending on
because when you're done with this thing, you could put it in a bag and put it away and bring it back next year.
Depending on what it is. So a fragrant wreath that you really ought to think about if you love. We were talking about the bay laurel and the rosemary. Mm-hmm. That's a really easy one. And the cushion moss wreath is the pin cushion. I mean, just envision that bright lime neon green.
It sounds beautiful, and you're promising me that this thing's going to live for a little while if you missed it?
It's going to live for 2 months. And,
really?
And it does love a little bit of misting because, after all, it's in many parts of the world with the gnomes.
Sure.
And fairies.
They're everywhere.
And so
especially at my kids' school. They're all over the playground, apparently.
But once you get you can buy this beautiful moss in so many of the garden centers and different artsy, craftsy stores. But you get either reindeer moss or the pin cushion moss, and then the floral pins and the glue gun, and you're going to then connect all this to your wreath base. And I promise this is going to live for about 2 months, and it just looks so beautiful. I think it extends beyond Christmas.
Okay, now I'm a guy that has a ton of pine cones.
Okay.
On my property, huge ones, big, like 6-8 inches long. Mm-hmm. Could I make a pine cone?
You can make a pine cone wreath.
How would you do that?
You can make a pine cone wreath. You have to have a glue gun.
Okay.
Do you have a glue gun?
Yep, check.
You basically, again, need to figure out what you're going to use for your foundation because it needs to be sturdy. So I'm thinking the wire base would be the best.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And then you're going to get your pine cones, but you want them to be halves if you can.
Okay. Also cut them in half.
You can cut them in half. And then you're going to need some, like 20 pine cones. Do you have about 20 of them?
I have probably 200. I mean, you know what I use them for now? We have an outdoor fire pit.
Oh.
You put those babies in a fire pit, and I swear...
Oh, and it smells great.
Not only does it smell great, but it literally explodes with flame. You have to be very careful because that sap is...
Sure.
Really, it blows up on you. First time I moved into the house a couple of years ago, we lit a fire. had all our neighbors gathered around, and I swear I thought I was going to burn the neighborhood down. It's like, oh boy, I got the hose. I had to like put the fire out.
Well, that was a welcome party.
That was,
yeah. Well, after you basically get all of your pine cones, and you're going to have some sheet moss or fishing line to connect after you've figured out these flat-shaped pine cones and laid them out across your wreath.
Okay.
And you want to have the glue gun to kind of adhere them to this, and then use some of this fishing line or nylon thread to further it
because it's invisible to the eye. You won't see that.
And
part.
it's going to secure them a little nice and tight and snugly
Okay.
to your foundation. But boy, that will definitely, I mean, afterwards, after Christmas is over, you can wrap that baby up, and it should probably stick around for several years.
Sure.
If you keep it,
Yeah. I might even use some of my precious hairspray to preserve it.
You could.
Yeah.
And I think it's always fun to use some glitter on top of the
Wait a
pine
minute,
cones.
you're taking it way,
Yeah.
way
Oh, come
down.
on,
That's
you can do this.
That's crazy.
You can do that, a little gold glitter.
I'd like to do it.
Silver glitter, even
Love the
or
glitter.
snow, a little white. Come on.
Right,
All right, here's a wreath. If you completely don't even want to have anything fresh, it's a present wreath. And a lot of us, I know, at Christmas time, we store boxes. Do you store gift boxes?
I have
odds and ends.
never
shape.
done that. Actually.
You've never done that?
No.
You're kidding me.
I need to do that because I love the look of this one where it's little
boxes.
little packages around
well,
the
especially if you get a lot of Tiffany boxes.
which I don't.
But just in case you were curious, I wouldn't mind a few Tiffany boxes. I'm just happy with the box.
Interesting.
I'm happy just with the box.
Okay.
Okay. I see you're getting off easy
You
here.
mean that's the aqua color one, right? With the white lettering?
The robin's egg
I
blue.
hear you.
But it doesn't have to be that. You can be any kind. But you picture cute little tiny jewelry size, ring size, watch size, necklace size boxes.
Okay.
And this is going to be your artistic decoration for the wreath. And so you're going to use your base again, and you're going to get the glue gun out, and you're going to connect these boxes, and then you just put a little satin bow in there, and it's just
That's
it's
really
cute.
pretty.
It's cute,
Yeah.
and especially if you were to wrap all the boxes in similar or even like, I don't know, complementary colors of wrapping paper.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have them all the blue boxes. You could have a Tiffany wreath.
You could change it all
Or
up.
change it up.
Different colors. That's a really cute idea. I like that one.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Let's see what
They don't have wreaths made of meat.
They
do
don't.
Like meat
They don't
wreaths?
have a bacon. They don't have a
bacon
bacon
wreath?
wreath. No.
Okay.
They do have the laurel wreath. That's the straw form, and look at how those leaves go. You can imagine it. It almost looks like some kind of a Greek.
Well, that has fragrance.
It does,
doesn't it?
And
Yeah.
it looks like a Greek god.
It really does. That's pretty.
And you basically get your foundation again. A straw form would be a good one, and that's going to be the essence of your wreath itself. And then you start attaching the floral wire as you're wrapping the straw around and around, and then you start picking up all of these laurel leaves that you're going to probably need about, at least 30 of them, maybe up to 100 of them, and then you connect them all in the same direction. Where
do you find those leaves, by the way?
You probably can buy those. You can get those. I bet you could get those even like at a Trader Joe's.
Sure.
In a
Okay.
bundle.
Or just take them off the neighbor's tree.
You could, after you maybe ask them for permission, yeah. And I know that a lot of the artsy craftsy stores also have them, but it's a good idea to first mist the leaves with water, and then you make this 18-inch round straw wreath form, and then you just keep weaving it around and weaving it around. It just looks so pretty, and it's a good one. Now, here's something for the really adventurous, a gingerbread man wreath. Did you see this one?
That is cute.
Okay, so you picture making a series of gingerbread men cookies. But what you do is you bake it so that they're all connected.
Oh, I was
going to
ask, how is that achieved?
Yeah.
That's a really
So you get all the dough, whatever your gingerbread cookie recipe is.
Yeah.
The key here is you keep freezing the dough the minute it starts to get quasi-warm. Freeze it. You want it to be hard while you're shaping with your cookie cutter, making the men so all the hands are holding hands.
So that keeps the integrity of the dough if you keep it frozen.
Yeah. And then you basically are going to freeze it till it's very firm. And then these are about 3-inch cutters.
Yeah.
And you need about 18 of these little gingerbread guys. And then you arrange the men in a circle. And then you lightly brush between with a wet pastry brush, and then you press them together and sprinkle with some sanding sugar, and then you cook it, and you're done in about 15 minutes. And then you just use some ribbon that you're going to weave after.
So you're interlacing it through the torsos of the gingerbread man.
And now you have your own hanging device with the ribbon. So it's
that's
cute.
really cute. Yeah.
So that's something. I mean, you have to have.
And to my meat wreath point, you could eat this one.
You could. Well, now we're going to know.
Yeah. You can
Boy,
just bite the heads off every day.
Wreath used to have 18 guys. Now it's down to 5. Eric's been here, right?
That's right.
So, have some fun with wreaths, because I think that there's so many different options out there. One year, we bought a wreath that you could find at, the florist shop or, again, the garden center, and we used peacock feathers, and we put that inside. Or the Christmas ornaments that
really pretty.
That might already have wires hanging from them, and you just use those wires and attach them. Or bells, the jingle bells. That's a really kind of a
Wait
cute
till
wreath.
you see what I'm going to make. I'll put it on the website.
Okay.
It's going to be huge.
What are you going to make?
I'm not telling.
Is it going to be fragrant?
It's going to be fragrant, beautiful, and nutritious.
And
I'm
nutritious.
Just going to say that
it's
right
going to
now.
have bacon, is what you're saying.
I don't know yet.
Turkey, bacon.
Something.
All right. Well, when we come back, as we wind our way into hour 2, it was a big shopping day yesterday, but the online shopping comes our way Monday. And so, how do you find the best deals for Christmas, especially if you want some things for the gardener in your life, or
and
you do it yourself?
You can avoid the crazy Black Friday aggression by shopping online.
You can,
because it got a little nutty out there. I got to tell you, I have bruises and hand marks.
Well, we're going to talk with a guy who has formed this website called Cheapism, and he has all kinds of deals that he has been scoping out, and we're going to find out how it works and help make you a little smarter as we try to stay stress-free for Christmas time.
I can't wait to talk to this guy.
Listening to Home Wizards, Eric Stromwer, Cindy Dole. Be sure to check in on the website if you're driving around and listening right now. You can